Okay, so on Friday we talked about how to classify numbers, which was so fun and so exciting and not something we practice a lot, so it probably really did feel like something you hadn't done in a while or never done before, I don't know. Today's going to feel like straight up review. What we've been doing in our math workshops is really prepared us for this moment. Okay, and we're also getting points today. So if I ask a question and Nick answers, I'll give his group a point. If Nick falls asleep or for some reason gets on my nerves, I'll take Nick's points away. No one lost any points last period. Lots of groups ended up with over 5. Okay, would anyone like to volunteer for number 5 on the math workshop? Number 5.
Here, I'll take a step on it.
Perfect.
Do you have to combine?
Yes, please.
So 6k squared plus 4k squared.
And you get?
10k squared.
Okay.
And then you would continue that and do 2k minus 5.
And you would get?
Negative 3k.
Okay, and then what?
Just plus 9.
Okay, table 3 can give themselves a point. And that's how easy it is to get a point. A different group want to try number 6? I got any volunteers for number 6? Oh, please do. Go for it.
You need to explain how I did it, or
Final answer's fine.
I got negative b squared minus ab minus 2.
Okay, his answer is 100% correct. You may give your group a point. If you did not get that as your final answer, because Lord knows I wouldn't have, as we discussed last week, any problems with a negative, I have to distribute that negative. It helps me. So I would have on my paper what I'm going to write in purple. I would have b squared plus ab minus 2. But then I would have distributed the negative. So I would have negative 2b squared minus 2ab. And then for sure, b squared, negative 2b squared. He's right, negative 1b squared. AB minus 2AB, you do get negative AB. I would have made a sign error on my middle term if I didn't distribute that negative. So if that's you, you probably want to distribute the negative. Okay, are there any questions about this? Okay, then go ahead and get out your notes from last week. We did all of page 1. We were halfway through page 2, and we're going to pick up where we left off on page 2. Okay, so according to the learning targets, which again you don't have to write down because I gave you that long list of them. According to the learning targets, we're doing stuff involving algebraic expressions today. We're either simplifying them or actually evaluating them. We're going to start off with simplifying. I would love a volunteer for number 1. Yes, ma'am.
I got 12b plus 6c.
8 and 4 is 12b. Negative 3, positive 9, it is 6c. She is correct. Give your group a point. Yeah, you might want to take over. Great job. Okay, for a free point, what am I going to do to start off on number 2? Okay, I heard Nick first, so table 2, you may get your point. Okay, if I do actually distribute, what should I get with that first term? Nick, give that group another point. Your group another point. Words, English, mouth work. And then what should I get with that second term? Oh, Nick's out. Someone else?
18g minus 36.
Okay, thank you. And give your group a point. Nick was in a hurry. He had the 18G, and then he just had to get out. He said 4K. He forgot to distribute that negative 9. and get negative 36k. Plus, he was just trying to hurry. Okay, we combine all like terms, and I'm going to skill your joy, and we get 8g, and then 12k minus 36k, we end up getting a negative 24k. So you should have 8g minus 24k. Are there any questions about number 2? Okay, I'm going to let you do number 3, the first one, to shout out the correct answer. We'll get their group a point. Who said that? Give your group a point. I thought it was you, Jax. I still don't know your voice. Not quite the way I know Nick's. No offense, Nick. Okay, so you know me. I had to distribute that negative. So I have a line with a negative 2 and a positive 4, because the negative times the negative made a positive 4. So I'm with the 9x, negative 3y, positive 4y. You end up getting positive 1y and a negative 2. Are there any questions on 3? If you missed 3, you did not distribute that negative, and it's messing you up. I bet what the term you missed was the y, because you didn't put a positive 4y, because you forgot a negative and a negative make a positive. Okay, and then we get to number 4, which has your least favorite thing in it. The good old fractions. And in geometry, your teacher would say, because I know I said this, I said, oh, just change it to decimals. Just whatever. Just change it. Not so much in Algebra 2 with Treg. If the problem's given in fractions, we're going to leave it in fractions. In fact, on your checkpoint today, there's a lot of people last period had number 5 correct, but I wanted the fraction, and they gave me the decimal, and I said, go back. Okay, so we've got a fraction. We're going to have to distribute it. What should I get with my first term? Go ahead.
You just put 5 and 1/3 next, then plus 8 and 1/3.
Instead of that proper fraction, can you give me a mixed fraction? So I'm giving myself a point. I would do 5/3 x plus 8/3 y. Don't worry, I'm willing to give out points on the second one. What should I get with that second set? I will write that. And then what? Okay, give your group a point. However, in order to keep that point, tell me, are you done? Why is mine better than yours? Yes, you can simplify your fractions. Okay, so I cannot simplify 5/3 x. It's still 5/3 x. I cannot simplify 8/3 y. But can I simplify 6/4 to what? 3/2. Is that you, Nick? And then the 1/2 for the other. Oh, I said the answer out loud. I hate it when I do that. Minus 1/2 y for the other. Nick, are y'all at like 3 points? Is that what I assume? Okay, just making sure. Okay, and then the first real stomper of the day. What do we do from here? I would love to combine like terms. I would, but 5/3 x and 3/2 x, I can't just add those two fractions together, can I? They don't have the same denominator. We need to get them to have the same denominator. What number do I need to choose? Why do I pick 6? Table 1, give a point. Why do I pick 6? Because 3 and 2 both go into 6. Perfect. So I need to know each of my fractions. I know they all have a 6. (10/6) Is that what you said? And then what over 6? For this one? But what about the y's? Nick, go ahead and move your people up to 4. Thank you. Give your point. And then the other one? 3/6. Okay. And you're like, Ms. Compton, that just seems stupid because those fractions simplify. But we had to do that so they would have the same denominator so we can actually combine our like terms. So I'm going to do 10/6 plus 9/6, and I'm going to get 19/6x. 16 minus 3, I get 13/6y, and I'm done because 19/6 doesn't reduce and 13/6 doesn't reduce. Okay, that one was our first doozy of the day. Are there any questions about that one? Okay, well, if you're ready, flip to the next page. We're doing page 3. So instead of simplifying now life, I think life gets even easier. We're going to evaluate. So instead of having an A, B, and C in each problem, we're told numbers to plug in for A, B, and C. So life should theoretically get easier. So on number 1, everywhere I see an A, I'm supposed to put a -2. B is 3. But here comes the real trick of, does Cassidy actually know her order of operation? What was that acronym we used for order of table 3? You can go ahead and have it. PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or however your teacher told you. That's how my teacher told me. And that's how we know our order of operation. So if there's some parentheses up here, we need to deal with those first. Okay, 2 times -2, I get -4. 3 plus 3, I get 6. 6 squared is 36. So I'm going to have -4 plus 36. My answer is 32. Are there any questions about that? And then here comes the real annoying part. Is there a faster way to do that? I bet there is, using this thing. So if I use my calculator, I can say 2 parentheses -2, and then plus, and then 3 plus 3 squared. But notice on my calculator screen, I wrote it exactly like I'd written it on my paper. If you are good at that and your calculator screen matches your paper, you'll get the right answer. However, if you forget to put, you do 3 plus 3 squared, you forget to put some parentheses or something, you're going to get the incorrect answer. And so Nick has 8 on his paper circled, and that's all he wrote was 8. So it's kind of hard to give partial credit to that. But if you're positive you're stinking awesome and you can do all this on your calculator, you don't have to put anything down. But there's a chance that Nick's not awesome. By golly, he's got to use some parentheses and write something on his paper. Yes,
So
dear.
if we're doing homework for a test or something, and we put it in the calculator, it gives us the right answer, you're not going to take points off?
No.
Okay.
No.
That important we did.
Yes, I'm not going to take points off. What I would do is I would at least write the line in purple, so I know from here you just put it in your calculator. But do you actually have to do the red like I do? No, because you did it in your calculator. But again, if you're one of these who forgets the parentheses, bad call. I wouldn't do my calculator. Okay. That one's pretty good. And then we get to number 2, and it seems just as nice, except there's a whole lot more parentheses, so we have to be even carefuler. So we've got 5, and then C is 4.2, minus 2, and then parentheses crazy. B is 3, A is -2, and then C is 4.2. So if he's good at his calculator, or if you are good at your calculator, you know your own skill level. Can you type this in one line and get out the correct answer? Absolutely. But it's going to require a lot of parentheses. And most of us are not that patient. So just FYI. Okay, someone did 5 and 4.2 and they got something. 21. I'm not going to give you a point for that. I think you can handle it. Okay, and then 2, I've got my 3 minus negative 2. I should get what?
5,
Right. Because it's a minus a negative, so it should be 3 plus 2, which is 5. So 5 and 4.2, and notice that I'm leaving my brackets. I'm not getting rid of the parentheses until I've done all the work. So Cassidy needs to be careful and make sure she's handled everything inside those brackets before she gets rid of them. Because if she got rid of them right now, she would try to do 2 times 5. She's not supposed to do that. According to PEMDAS, if we're still in the parentheses, she actually needs to add 5 and 4.2. Okay, so she adds, she gets 9.2. What is her final answer? 10.6. Anyone else get 10.6? 2 points. And you fixed it, give yourself a point. Okay, and then back to Miss Compton and you, but we both have some number skills. I know 2 times 9 is 18. I know 21 minus 18 is about 3, so I knew it was a little less than 3. Back to that number skills. Now, can Genius Boy go ahead and type it all in on his calculator one line? Absolutely. Go for it. Be crazy. Okay, 3 problems left and we're done. Well, done talking about new stuff. We still have to check a point. Okay. 9Z, 4Y, and W, 2W. Let's see. 9Z, Z is 1/3, minus 4, Y is 2.6, and 2W is negative 3. But I'm actually happy to see the fraction this time. Why am I happy with this fraction?
Because we can make it a decimal.
I'm not going to make it a decimal. That's like 0.33 and I just can't. Say it again. 1/3 of 9 is 3. I'm happy because 9 times 1/3 is just the whole number of 3. Perfect, give your group a point. Okay, earlier I made the statement that if the problem's given in fractions, we're going to leave it in fractions. But this problem gives us fractions and decimals. So I mean, we're not going to change the decimal into a fraction. We're going to take it however they gave us. I do need to know 4 times 2.6.
Negative 10.4.
Oh yes, you finally redeemed yourself. Okay, you put all the things together and you get
Negative 13.4.
and you get the point for that. But again, I kind of knew that was what it was going to be. Because 3 minus 6 is negative 3. Negative 10 and negative 3 is negative 13. Okay, that one was fun. That one was fun. And then we get to the truly fun ones where the fractions just won't go away. Like on number 4 and number 5. Okay, on number 4 it says b squared, which is negative 0.8 squared, and then c squared, which is 5 squared, divided by a, negative 4, and then d is 1/5. Most people, if they make calculator mistakes, they tend to make them with the squared. Anyone know why?
Get them inside the parentheses.
They don't put the negative inside the parentheses. They don't use parentheses. Is your group already at 5? I thought so. Okay, so what happens is most people put negative 0.8 squared in their calculator just like this, and they get negative 0.64. Did we have it in parentheses on our paper?
Yes.
So I should probably put it in parentheses in my calculator. Plus, I have enough common sense to know a negative times a negative is supposed to be a positive. So if your calculator tells you a negative times a negative is a negative, you told your calculator something wrong. It's not the calculator's fault, it's your fault. You inputted wrong. Okay, so I got 0.64, and then everyone knows 5 squared is 25, thank God. And then the denominator, I have negative 4/5. Okay, that perfect square reminds me to talk about perfect squares when I'm done. Okay, 0.64 times 25. What do you end up getting in the numerator? $16 in that numerator, and it's divided by negative 4/5. Now, I'm old school. My teacher would have told me that this problem actually reads 16 divided by negative 4/5. And then she would have said, make it 16 over 1, make that a multiplication sign, and flip that second. She would say flip the second, multiply. And I would end up cross-canceling, and I would end up getting negative 20. If you're looking at that blue, and you're like, I'm not going to cuss because I'm on YouTube, but like all cuss words in your head, like I don't know what she just did because fractions never made sense to me, that's fine. Back to this purple. I can enter this purple in my calculator just like this and get the right answer and not have to remember those weird rules with fractions. Okay, so in my calculator, I can type in 16 divided by, and then I put it in parentheses, negative 4/5. And I end up getting negative 20. Or, Kylan's like, that's great, but this doesn't really look like this. Is there not some way we can type it in the calculator and it look the way it looks on our paper? And we can. There's an alpha button on your calculator. If you press alpha and then y equals, you can actually pick to type in a fraction. So if we pick it, we can put 16 in the numerator. We can press alpha again, choose to type in another fraction. Negative 4/5. And look, now my calculator screen looks like my paper. And I still end up getting negative 20. So if you didn't know that trick, and you would like for your calculator to look the way it looks on your paper, then I would write down to myself the command for it is alpha, and then you press y equals. And that gets you to the fraction button. I make a bubble and say fraction button. Now, for my friend who is calculator savvy, did he actually have to do all the stuff I did? Heck, he probably could have typed it in when it was in red and gotten the right answer from here. Heck, he's probably so good he could type it in from here. He wants to have at least written something down so he can show me he knew what to plug in where. But if all he has is this and the correct answer, I'm not going to be mad at him for that. I'm not. But if all he has is this and the incorrect answer, kind of hard to have mercy on his soul when I'm grading something. So, did anyone still need that? I thought it was still right. Let me get back out. Okay, while she's still writing, go ahead and start plugging in our numbers for our variables in number 5. Okay, so you add in that numerator and you get what? 5.2. Nick, are you all at 5 now? Okay, good. Okay, and then what do you end up getting in the denominator? Say it again, Nick.
4, 5 plus 5.
4 over 5 plus 5. How did you get 4? Oh, did you distribute to both of them? Distribute to both of them.
4 over 5 plus 20.
Yes, I agree with the 4 over 5 plus 20. Okay, he's like me. He likes math. There was a girl last period who is very good at her calculator. Typed this entire line in her calculator, got 20.8. And so she had 5.2 divided by 20.8. And she ended up getting the correct answer. So if that's you, you can go straight from here. But, you know, I'm a math teacher. I like math. I'm going to keep doing math while I can. It's just me. So from here, what I would do is I would say, okay, in that denominator, I've got 4/5. And then I need to change this one to have a denominator of 5. So I would end up making it 100 divided by 5 because 100 divided by 5 is really 20. And so now I actually have 5.2 divided by 100 plus 4 is 104 over 5. Okay, I type that in my calculator. I end up getting 0.25. I do. I get 0.25 as my final answer. But again, if you didn't want to do all this, and you want to go back to, let's say, where he helped us distribute, or hey, even back on this step, as long as you're putting in parentheses, so I'm going to put 4 parentheses, 1/5 plus 5. So I do 5.2 divided by 20.8. As long as you're putting everything in parentheses, I end up getting that denominator is 20.8. And so if I went back to the beginning and I did 5.2, my numerator, divided by that denominator 20.8, I'm still going to get 0.25. So do you have to be like me and go through all the math that you possibly could to then type it in the calculator? No. You can type it in way sooner, and I'm not going to be upset unless, of course, you mistype, don't show any work, and then we're all in a whole other mess world of problems. Okay, are there any questions about any of these? Okay, you picked up a paper on your way in that said perfect squares. You should already know the first 10. Heck, let's be honest, you probably should already know the first 14. You're expected to know the first 25. We're going to have a test on the first 25, August 25th. You know, write that on the paper you can. Starting tomorrow, when there's free time, I will randomly shout out to Nick, like, Nick, what's 10 squared? And then the class would say, oh, it's 100. And we'll practice it out loud sometimes, but it's going to be something that you have to accomplish on your